Aloha, friends. It's Robert Stehlik. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Planet Show, which I record right here in my home office and talking to wingfoil athletes, designers, thought leaders, anyone who has something interesting to say. And today's interview is with Olivia Piana. She's an amazing world class athlete, not just in wing foiling and surf foiling and downwind foiling, but also in stand-up paddle surfing, stand-up paddle racing, wind foiling, kiting, and more. She has several world titles in her name. She talks a little bit about the challenges of competing as a woman in these male-dominated sports and about her goals. And then this summer, the Molokai to Oahu race is coming up. We talk about that. She's entered to race in that, one of the few women doing the downwind foiling. I'm entered in that race as well, so I'm looking forward to doing more interviews, talking to athletes that are entered in this race before and after. So hope you can join me for some of those interviews. As always, you can watch it right here on YouTube or listen to it on your favorite podcast app. Just search for The Blue Planet Show. So without further ado, here is Olivia Piana. Okay, Olivia, welcome to The Blue Planet Show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Hello, Robert.
Yeah. So it's you're in Portugal. I guess it's like 7 p.m. for you. For me, it's 8 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii. So yeah, thanks for joining me. And from the other side of the world, it's pretty cool that we can talk like this on Zoom.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so
Uh,
I've never talked to you before, so it's good to meet you virtually. But can you talk a little bit about like how like start from the very beginning? Where were you born? How did you get into water sports? And how did you get into what you do today?
I was born in Marseille, in south of France. Then I grew up in Digne-les-Bains, a very small city in the beginning of the Alps. So I was an hour and a half away from the coast, from the Mediterranean Sea. And I grew up on a very natural place with the mountains, and I play many different sports when I was kid. I had the luck to have my parents that really gave me the opportunity to discover many things. And my mom is a windsurfing fan, and when I was kid, she brought me on the windsurf, and yeah, I just totally fall in love to windsurfing when I was 12 in the Mediterranean Sea,
Hmm.
and I wanted to dedicate my life to it. It was my dream to be windsurfer pro and to compete around the world and to win titles. And I had my like some champions that I really loved, and yeah, that's uh that's that's how I discovered the passion for the ocean, the wind and the wave. And windsurfing is my first sport.
Okay. And then so like you started at 12 years old, and then like you got into windsurf racing right away, or like competing with windsurfing, or
Yeah, I started with windsurfing PWA race, slalom race. And so I went with my mom. My mom helped me on the competition, and she really loved it too. And I start to travel a bit more. I never compete a lot on the wave, even if I really love the windsurfing on the wave. But I guess racing is much more easy to compete than wave riding. And when I was from the Mediterranean Sea in France, it's not really wavy. So yeah, I had more opportunity to race and to do slalom. And yeah, it was the only thing. I would be more lucky to be a man that a woman in windsurfing, because it was not so easy to have a sponsor and help to compete and to travel. but I did it anyway, and I really loved it.
Hmm. So you've like, yeah, you're saying that the sponsors were not as helpful when you for women, like they didn't support women as much as men. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's a system that the industry is mainly men, and then they think the women don't buy the product, and then they design the product for the men, and then there is no woman into the sport. But it's more about the history of the sport and the mentality and the vibe on the beach and everything. It's not so welcoming for women, and it's like it is, but some women try to make changes, but it's not so easy. Luckily, with stand-up paddling and today with wing foiling, it's really different, and there is more opportunity for women to compete. But it's changing slowly, but it's not that easy to improve it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
So yeah, I was
interesting
kid
topic.
and I was on the beach like, hey guys, can I windsurf with you? But yeah, it was basically my like most of the people get help from the family, or they work to pay everything because windsurfing is super expensive.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was not so easy, but I did my best and I'm super happy anyway.
Mhm. Okay. So and then what came next? Because I know you got into all kinds of sports, stand-up paddling and then foiling, wing foiling.
And
I don't know, what else?
yeah, and then I discovered stand-up paddling in 2011.
Mm,
It was the day that it was not windy, and then I went with friends with these long and big boards on the waves. And yeah, it was the first time actually that I surf a wave without a sail. And then thanks to my friend Fred Bonef that live in Tarifa, that I met there in Spain. This guy really pushed me to go into the racing and to compete, and we were like a team to go to the event. And the funny thing is that I really wanted to compete in wave stopping, and the first World Cup was in La Torche in 2012, and there was also the racing. The surfing and the racing were together, and the title there was the overall for I think it was the eight, no, it was the stand-up world tour before,
mm,
and there was this overall title for surfing and racing. And then I did also the racing, but I was not so motivated to do it, and I won the race. I was like, oh wow, actually it's pretty cool. And I discover how fun is it to race, and it's not only boring, to paddle for 15 kilometer, and it was pretty technical. The day after the distance race, we went on the wave to do the technical race, and it was a mix of racing and surfing, and I really love it. And I won again. Like it was a big crash on the wave with all the girls like surfing and at the mark, like with the racing board. It was like, but yeah, it was so fun.
mm,
And yeah, I got better opportunity in supping than windsurfing from the same brands. That's what it was very strange, like the same brands on the windsurfing and stand-up industry
mm.
gave more money to women in supping. So I was like, okay, and I had the
So,
opportunity to compete in stand-up paddling more
okay,
easily.
so like, who was your sponsor at that time? Who was sponsoring
Yeah, sorry to say it, but it was Fanatic.
Kinetic? Okay, and
But maybe it's the situation, maybe it give more visibility, you know, it was just at this time more easy to have a good contract in SUP than windsurfing.
Yeah, so basically they were probably making more money with stand-up paddleboard, so they wanted to promote that more than windsurfing. Is that basically what?
Fanatic, they sell a lot of windsurf boards, but maybe for a woman, it was more easy to give the good image to sell boards, to sell SUP boards than windsurf boards.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So it was like this. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
started like this, and it was
So that was so the first time you competed in stand-up paddling, you won the racing, and then you also won the surfing. So you were
No, I didn't want the surfing. The surfing was on the very small waves, and I got last, I think. So I was thinking, okay. It was surfing in competition is not easy because it's very rare that you have the good condition and you can express yourself, and then racing make it much more easy. You just have the start and the finish, and also about the judgment, it's judgment in racing is pretty easy. Just you paddle and you cross the finish line and you have your position. And yeah, and then I got some prize money with this competition, and that permit me to go to the next competition, and I start like this.
Nice. I'm gonna screen share a little bit from your Facebook page or Instagram or Facebook where like kind of like way in the past, I guess. But yeah, this was like when I guess you were writing Fanatic boards but like I guess even early on you were getting like stories in the magazines and everything, right?
Yeah, this was in Sri Lanka. This was in Sri Lanka, my first barrel, let's say. And yeah, it was an amazing trip. We were supping on the wave on the morning and windsurfing on the afternoon. And to have a Fanatic as a sponsor on this trip was really cool to do both sports.
Okay. So
yeah,
so after you won your first stand-up paddle race, then what happened? You went to more contests and then traveled. Like what?
Yeah, basically I really travel a lot thanks to SUP. Stand-up paddling really bring me everywhere in the world and make me meet a lot of amazing people, and I am super grateful for that. It's so easy and versatile. You can go everywhere. You can go like the picture that you see with many people on the board. I think it's in Lyon in France on the river Rhône. Yeah, and yeah, it was really the beginning, the very, very beginning. This picture, 2014.
And then there was races on inflatable boards, in Europe. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the inflatable board, they are definitely not as performant as the rigid one, but it's so easy to travel with.
Yeah. The European market, is it still like most people using inflatable boards in Europe on when they go stand up?
Absolutely, yeah. There is a lot of inflatable boards for beginner or for people that don't paddle that much. They really love to go on the inflatable board and enjoy their time.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
And actually, they are better and better. They are not good for surfing, for example, but for just paddling on in France, for example, we have a lot of beautiful place for just paddle on the crystal clear water. Super nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just convenient because you can pack them up small, you can travel with it, take it on the airplane, all that kind of stuff, right? So definitely has some advantages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, and then then you got more and more into stand-up paddle racing or surfing and both, or like what were you up to?
Yeah, I get more and more in racing. I broke my ankle in 2015,
Mm.
and this was very hard because I had to. No, I broke my feet windsurfing in Morocco in 2015, and then it takes 6 months to recover. And yeah, this was a bit hard, but then I recover. I change sponsor as well to Starboard in 2016, and then yeah, I guess it was 2006 because me sometimes with the years I get lost.
Me
But
too.
2016 I had a little down with the injury, and then little by little up, and then I was very performant in 2017, 18, and 19
Mhm.
at the PPG in California, Pacific Paddle Game. On the ISA, I won the from 2013 to 2017. I got 7-time vice world champion
Mm.
of ISA
Vice
in
versa.
technical race and distance race. And
Okay.
I was like, what happened to me? I'm a lot of times second. Then
Mhm.
I really take care of every little detail and everything. And in 2018 in China, I got world champion of distance race for the
Mm.
first time.
Congrats.
Was so amazing. After 7-time second, I was like, finally,
Yeah. So
with the French team.
tell us a little bit about that injury you had in 2016 in Morocco. You said, like, did you get your foot was stuck in the foot strap or something, or did you like
Yeah, I
tumble
was
in
too
the
late
wave?
on
Or?
the I was too late on the wave. I was like behind the lip, and then the lip catch me, and instead of my feet to go away like this, the board just turned on the other way, and then I had the feet between the mast, like, and the board. It was
Oh,
like very bad. Then I just like all my body just twist, and my foot was still on the strap, and then I just couldn't swim. My gear went away with the wave, and somebody helped me with the windsurf to go back to the shore. And they didn't discover immediately that it was broken. That's why it was very long to recover. And then when I discovered that it was actually broken was 1 month or 1 month and a half after, because I still had the pain on the foot.
mm.
And then I just had to rest and I did outrigger canoe
Yeah.
at,
Outrigger paddle.
at yeah, at that time.
Mm.
In France, we have some clubs from Tahiti,
Hmm.
and I learned a lot during this time how to paddle well with the Tahitian on the typical canoe, and it was actually very good for the training to have this injury.
Interesting. So
Uh,
basically, and then you came back stronger after that. What are some things that you learned from the Tahitians, and like for paddle stroke technique that helped you with stand-up paddle racing? Curious.
the thing with the Tahitian is they don't explain; they just show you,
Mm.
and they tell you, but it's like that. Look at me. It's the Tahitian. They have the feeling on the water. You know, this is the emotion. This is the what they feel more than what they think.
Mm.
And yeah, I just spend a lot of time on the water with them, watching them, and it was still not perfect, but for supping was good enough.
Mhm.
And we trained on the canoe with 6 girls and solo, and yeah, on the upwind downwind, like the different way to train was super interesting, that you can do also on the sup with the break and with no break, with like yeah, different. Sometimes it was super hard and too much. It was a bit too much sometimes,
Mm.
but very good to open our mind to this technique.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, and then you came back from your injury and you started winning the races, not coming in second, or the overall world title, or yeah, talk a little bit about that.
I came back. The first race I won again was the race in Paris in the Nautic show.
Hmm.
So it was the beginning of December in the winter, and it was the only race of the year that for the first place there was one plane ticket for Tahiti for the award
Oh, nice.
of this race, and I was so happy to win it. Then I went to Tahiti in next April 2017, and I don't remember it was 16 or 17, but anyway, it was around this time. And then when I went to Tahiti, when you win the race there, you win a flight ticket again from Paris to Tahiti. So I won the race, and I won another ticket, and I was like, wow. So and then I went to Tahiti like this six time during 3 years, and I went twice the year, like on April and December to race there. Maybe
Okay.
you find some picture from Tahiti here,
Uh,
or
yeah, I don't know.
maybe it
Tell
was
me.
already the time of Instagram.
So, and then you were riding for starboards, and I guess yeah, you were on the starboard team.
Yeah, at that time I was racing for Starboard,
Okay.
and yeah, I had some boards there. And what was really cool that it's in Tahiti we had some downwind conditions, some canoe. This is in France with the girls.
Uh-huh. Your canoe team.
Yeah, the canoe
Which
team.
position were you paddling in?
I was in the fourth.
Okay.
I was the motor, as they call it,
Yeah.
the power.
Okay.
This is the clinic I really love to teach as well.
Yeah.
At that time, do you have the date? 2016. At
Oh.
that time, um, I was sailing actually boards for Starboard. I was working on the boat show. I
Mm-hmm.
had this job because I was starting again to be an athlete after the injury,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got paid by representing the brand on the boat show, on the tent, on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was the time of the race, I just escaped from the tent, and I went racing, and that's how I was able to pay and to travel again. Yeah,
Okay.
this is in Paris, and in this kind of boat show, the people they ask you a coffee when you are a woman. I was like,
Oh,
"Do you want to know about the
yeah.
boards or
They
no, no,
ask
no?"
you the guys about the
And I was
boards, and the
thinking,
girls are supposed to
and
give you
it was
coffee.
so funny because some people they just don't know. They just like, and I was wearing this blue jacket. That is the jacket of the girl that's just bring the coffee, and I
Oh,
didn't
geez.
know it.
And pouring
Yeah, with
champagne, I guess.
citron. Yeah, it was after the winning. Yeah, Yeah, 2015. I won in 2015, and then I went back in 2016. So I went to Tahiti for the first time in 2016. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And
All right. So two trips to Tahiti where you won tickets. That's a long trip from France to Tahiti.
yeah, that's 24-hour of flight.
Mhm. Okay.
Paris, LA, and then LA, Tahiti.
Okay. And when was the first time you came to Hawaii?
I went to Hawaii for the first time in 2013
Oh, okay.
after the Battle of the Paddle.
Hmm.
It was the first time I went to the US. And after the Battle of the Paddle, there was the Stand-Up Paddle World Series in Oahu, in Turtle Bay.
Hmm.
Then I traveled first to Maui. Spend no, actually, I'm wrong. The first time I went to Maui was for the triathlon, the Xterra World
Okay.
Championship in 2000, must be 2012 maybe. I'm lost with the years.
Yeah.
And I
So,
compete in triathlon in
oh,
Maui,
so you're
and it was
also a
the excuse.
triathlete.
Yeah, I was, because I was living on the mountain, and then I couldn't go on the water, and I did triathlon for 3 years,
Mm.
and I was selected for the Xterra World Championship, and I compete. And actually, a friend of mine was world champion of 2000 in 2008 in Maui. So this guy helped me a lot to go into the sorry, my dog, to
Mhm.
go into the triathlon scene, and I actually went to Maui to compete in triathlon, but mostly to windsurf in Okipa,
Mhm. Right, right.
and it was the excuse to go there.
Okay. That's cool. So how far did you go in the triathlon scene in the 3 years you were doing it? Did you win anything or?
I I got second on the junior Xterra World Championship, but it was not so much competitive.
Hmm.
I was not so competitive in triathlon. I'm most competitive in stand up or
Yeah.
water sports.
But it probably
Triathlon is
helped you. It helped
very
you with the
very hard.
endurance, right? And with the
Yeah, a
endurance
lot,
for racing, right?
a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
Mhm.
then stand up paddle racing was just the mix of windsurfing and triathlon, the endurance and the glide.
Yeah. And the paddle technique from outrigger paddling. Yeah. You learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So then you're competing in stand-up paddle racing, and then what happened next? You Yeah.
What happened next? I got two other world title in China in 2019 at the World Championship.
World title. Yeah.
I got second on the distance race. I got first on the technical, and then the big surprise, I won the sprint race, the 200-meter race. But it was my first time I compete on this format. And on the interview, I say, okay, guys, I think it's just the foiling that helped me a lot to paddle hard to take off the board, because
Mm.
I never train on the sprint format, because I really prefer to go on the ocean and to play and to enjoy what the ocean has to give you. To just compete sprints was not so much my what I love to do. And then I got into stand surf foiling first in 2017. I got my first board, and then into stand up foil in Portugal, where I live. There is a really nice wave, long and smooth wave for foiling.
Hmm.
and a bit of current, so it's much better to go there with the SUP than with the surf. And yeah, I just got addict into foiling.
Mm.
But I was really thinking that at the beginning I still train in both SUP race and SUP foil, because actually my job was to SUP race, and the COVID arrives 2020, and the COVID actually helped, like at some point it helped me to stop SUP racing, because it was when you win races and when you are the leader of one sport, it's super hard to quit and to say, okay guys, now it's my time to do something else. And SUP racing was really my second family. I have so many friends that I met on the competition, and I travel everywhere in the world with. And it was really not easy to stop this and to have another life. But yeah, at some point the COVID helped making the transition.
Right. So I mean, and it seems like that was a pretty common thing that like the top people in stand-up paddle racing kind of discovered foiling, and especially for downwinding, it's so much more efficient to be on a foil, right? So and it seemed like the whole kind of stand-up racing scene kind of fell apart a little bit because of that, I think, and because of COVID, like there weren't any races for a while, and it seems like
Mhm.
now it never got its momentum back too, right? Like seems like there's not as many races and not as many people competing anymore in stand-up paddling. Is that true, or is that just my perception?
I think so, yeah. There is a Yeah, and I think it also depends where you live. If you live on a spot that you can practice downwind, for sure you go into sub foil. But like there are some athletes, they are still sub racing, maybe because they want to continue, and they have the will to keep training very hard.
Mhm.
and yeah, there is Casey, there is some athletes from France. In France we have many racers that get into subfoil. It's still not so popular because sub downwind, like we sub to do sub downwind, right? To sub surf with the foil, but sub downwind foil at the beginning is very hard, especially 2 years ago or 3 years
Yeah,
ago with
very
the
challenging.
gear.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what was it like to get, your first time you tried it, or like how, talk a little bit about how challenging it is.
Yeah, my first downwind with the sub foil. I borrowed a board in France from a shop from a friend of mine. It was a Robert Stehlik board, huge one, like 34 wide,
Mm.
maybe 6'2" long, and it was a cargo board. It was like this, a bubble. And when you like, it's not about the board, it's about the rider, always. But to take off, and when you take off, you're about to fly and you paddle super hard, and then when you are about to surf the swell, you actually don't know what to do, and it takes really a while to go like full commitment to take off the board, and well, let's see what's next. And yeah, I think it's real today with the new boards, the long boards. Like, yeah, it's this is one of my first boards.
So this was like in 2019, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, and yeah, at the beginning was very tough, very very tough.
Yeah.
to sub downwind foil. Like in France, my first downwind, I didn't take off. Maybe I just take off or for a few meters. For 8 kilometers, I had a 10 second of foiling,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just kept going, and um, I remember in Portugal, my first I tried to go for a 28 kilometer run
Oh,
with the kayakist with the kayak guys, and I flight for half an hour in total, and I did it in 3 hours and a half. I
wow.
was like exhausted. I was like, what the fuck? And now this run, I do it in an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
So more than 2 hours less. It's
Right.
there is really a big difference when you fly and when you don't fly.
Right. Huge
It's a
difference.
lot.
Yeah. And then if you
Yeah,
paddling the whole way with a small board and a foil underneath, it's hard work,
it's
right?
very hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. But well, now with
Yeah.
the big long gun, it make it much more easy, and that's so cool because I think many people can get into the sport and have more opportunity to enjoy it. And we are really at the start of something really cool
Yeah. I mean, it's the
for
board
downwind.
and also the foils that are getting better and yeah. And then, but you do need to have good conditions. It's not like you can go out in super light wind or
Yeah,
like in any kind of conditions. Like that's one thing about stand-up paddling that I think is it's just more accessible to more people, right? Like pretty much anybody that can stand up paddle, with the right equipment and any pretty much any kind
you
of
mean
water.
you mean stand-up paddle classic? The
Yeah.
yeah the yeah
This,
for sure. For
yeah.
sure. And for subfoil, for subdomain foil, you really need more knowledge about the ocean and about the safety.
Hmm.
And it's really the next step. But it's
Yeah.
the freedom that you feel. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's an amazing sport. So, um, okay. So then you also, it looks like from your, you also got into windsurf foiling a little bit. Looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you doing some
yeah. This was
racing with that?
one year, 2020, summer 2020 to summer 2021.
Hmm.
And I was born in Marseille, and then I thought, okay, the Olympic Games will be in Marseille in 2024. I'm a windsurfing lover, and I really want to try at least to know what it is and to get into it. And I did 1 year of Olympic training with the French team.
Hmm.
And then I actually discovered the Olympic world that I just know from far, because let's say that the outdoor sports, stand-up paddling, surfing is now into the Olympics, but windsurfing was really there. There was like one big step between Olympic windsurfing and what windsurfing is for real in the industry. But with foiling, it's much more, let's say, it's much more similar, because foiling first is really more fun than classic windsurfing, than classic Olympic windsurfing, in my point of view. And yeah, it was super interesting, and I really got a lot of knowledge about foiling doing Olympic windsurfing training.
Hmm.
It was at the end, I prefer to focus in one sport and to choose one sport that is sub-down wing foil or wing foil as well. I did 1 year of World Cup in wing foiling, and it's very hard to do everything. You really have to choose. But I didn't want to have regrets, and I think I could do it if I would meet or attract the people, the team that can bring you to the Olympic. But I guess it's not my profile of athlete. I prefer the freedom. I prefer to go sub-domain foil and to do the Molokai and instead of doing the Olympic Games. But to know it, I really needed to experiment it and to feel it, and to be born on the city that will host the sailing Olympic Games was very a luck, I guess. And then I really wanted to try it.
So, but you never competed in what you did. It looks like you did do some competition, right? With the windsurf.
Yeah, I did a IQ foil, the Olympic wing foiling class.
Okay.
I did a few competition. I got some pretty nice result because before I never compete in Olympic format in my life. And I got some help from the French team, but I was not the best athlete, so I was not on the main training group. But I still had some help about how to race and how to go upwind, because it's all about how to read the wind and how to go upwind, downwind. And this is a science, this is really a lot of knowledge, a lot of feeling, and a lot of years on the water to know how to do it. And yeah, I still got 20 on the international IQ foil games. Okay. And everyone told me, hey, Olivia, you did pretty well because you never compete in racing Olympic before like this,
Yeah.
To make the good decision, and you can lose so quickly many places like this. You take the wrong decision, ciao, you're last.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of races. It's 20 races in or sometime more in a few days.
Yeah.
It's really exhausted.
Okay. And then how did you get into the wing foiling? Like when did you start wing foiling and like what was your progression in that?
Wing foiling, I started in September 2019. I was already subfoiling on the waves, and I was thinking, well, it's just about to add the sail when it's windy. And I got the support of Takun first, a French brand, and then in 2020 there was the first competition, the GWA, and I really wanted to go to Tarifa. It was at the end of the year during Christmas and New Year. Yeah, December 20.
Oh, this is 21.
2020?
Yeah.
21.
Oh,
No, and then it was 21 maybe.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well,
No, yeah, sorry. It was no, I started in September 2020. And then yeah, this is the first picture with Takun. Yeah, 2020, sorry.
Yeah.
I started in 2020, September, and then I compete in December 2020 in Tarifa.
Oh, okay.
It was my first competition. And I knew a bit Tarifa because I went there for windsurfing and for stand-up paddling before, and I got it was freestyle. It was just it was freestyle, and the race was for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I got third on the freestyle. My foot stripe broke during the final heat. It was a little bit a mess, but experience of
That foil
competition.
looks huge for you. I guess in those
This
days people were using bigger
I
foils.
had with I was doing freestyle with 1,600 centimeters square.
Oh wow.
What is really big.
Yeah, yeah,
Really big. The mask didn't like it.
yeah. Wow. Okay.
And then 2021, I compete again. Did a few World Cup in wing foiling.
Mm-hmm.
Went to France, Switzerland, Brazil, and Spain. Very fun. That's it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really different from what I knew in stand-up paddling, because I was from SUP racing. That is really, really, that was, and I was thinking, wow, we are lucky in stand-up paddling. Like, and we really lived the same situation that on the windsurfing competition with the wing foil, about men and women. But it was at the beginning. I mean, it was a new beginning of a new sport managed by kite surfer. So yeah, it was a bit special. It's not easy to talk about it because everything has a beginning, and of course you need to create something and it's super cool for the GWA to organize events. It's a lot of work to do what they do, but they do what they know, and they do it how they know how to do it, and with the habits we are just our habits.
Mm.
And then it's true that they reproduce the same thing that they did with the kite surfing competition, and it was really different from what we do in stand-up paddling in terms of equality gender.
Mm.
About the image, about the video and photo production, that for women was really, really a few comparing to men.
Mm-hmm.
And then the image is what makes everything. If you don't see any image of women on the water, you think it's a sport for only for men.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the same. It's the same thing. You don't have image of women. And it was also a world tour organized by brands that give the budget for the GWA. And these brands have mostly men riders that they pay, and they pay the travel expense to go to the competition, to go to the world tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this situation that most of the competitors are men, and you are like, hello, it's us, the women. And a few women come from the industry that has maybe 10% of the fleet, and a few women come from themselves, like paying everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And also many other rider men pay everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we really try to find a way to give more, like the same amount of visibility to both gender, to attract more participants of women into the sport, and to make it fair to have the same prize money. Because of course, when you have, let's say, 80 men competing and 5 women competing, it's not the same competition. That's
Mhm.
completely true. But it's the problem is deeper than that. It comes from actually, but yeah, it was interesting to find a solution about this,
Is there
and
also
it was
things
a bit
like
hectic sometimes.
when there's a wing foil contest and the wind's kind of light, do they send out the women's heat because it's not windy enough for the men or something like that? Is it stuff like that too, or
Can be,
yeah?
but the most important is to make the effort to make images of the competitor, and this is the most hardest thing to do.
Hmm.
To really coach, like to manage your production team, to say, okay, guys, because the filmmaker and the photograph, they are used also to shoot more uh, performance of men that are impressive than women. And then it's just, that's what I said, just the habits. It's not, we don't want women in the sport. It's not this. It's just, we do what we used to do, that we do it for a long time. And then we just reproduce what we are used to do.
Hmm.
And to give image to women, it's something that's it's not so natural, it's not so, it's you have to shake a bit the people to say, hey, we are here.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, so what are some things that you have been trying to do to kind of help the status of women in those kind of sports? Like what do you do to try to get like kind of rattle the cage a little bit?
I have the big pleasure to organize the She Wings events with Value.
Mm.
This is events dedicated for women to learn how to wing foil and to improve the wing foiling technique. And we are doing the first she downwinds. So we go also on the downwinds with the wing foil, with
Mm.
the she wings. And it's, so we start last year, mostly in France. We did one event in Portugal in the beginning of this year in April, and it's a big success. It's really impressive. We're gonna do one event this Sunday in France, and
Oh,
we are 25 women in total, and the registration were full in less than 24 hours. So I'm super happy, and it's all about finding a way, like to organize events, like to grow the logistic of the event, to welcome more women on the event, because we really had to stop the registration of the girls. And then the idea is to produce media content for the social media, and to do this kind of to help doing this, and
mm.
to inspire, to produce a positive image for women wing foiling, and to
Yeah.
show that it's super cool to wing foil when you are a woman.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, and wing foiling is really not so much about strength, but it's more about finesse and technique, right? So it's not very,
Yeah, absolutely.
very strong. And
Yeah,
it seems
it's
like
super
here on
accessible.
Oahu, we see there's a pretty good amount of women getting into wing foiling too now, which is it's good. It's cool to see that.
Mhm.
But it does seem like, especially in the media, it's definitely male dominated sport still right now. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
let's talk a little bit about this summer. So I know you signed up for the Molokai to Oahu race, and you're doing it as on wing foiling, right? So,
on sub
oh, you're doing on
on
sub.
subfoil.
Oh, okay. I
Oh
thought you
yeah.
were wing foil. Okay, so subfoiling, and also Maui to Molokai race, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm super
So
excited.
yeah, so talk a little bit about that. Like, what kind of equipment are you planning to use, and the your strategy and your training and stuff like that for those races in this summer.
The equipment I am going to use is the Axis downwind board. I have one 611 by 19 inch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 90 liter. It's a custom board that Axis made for me. It's a bomb. I really love this board.
Is
It
it
really makes a big difference. It's this one, yeah.
okay?
And yeah, I did my first takeoff on the flat water with this board and the foil Art Pro 1201. Which is pretty big. I don't think I'm gonna use this foil for the Molokai, only if it's very, very light wind. I'm gonna use a smaller size that I have for now, that is not on the production yet, but will be soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little surprise about the front wing. And but I use a I'm good on a versatile foil. I like to I for now I don't use a very small foil. I use a 1000 centimeter square. And because I like to take off in an easily, and to be able to do mistake and don't lose the flight. And I play more, let's say, I like to go fast. I have a one medium average of 23 kilometer per hour, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
On this, like, I did it on 30 kilometer or something like that, so it's pretty long. And yeah, instead of going with a very small foil, and if you lose the flight, it's another story. Another story. And I train mostly in Portugal, where I live, where I have sometimes nice condition. For now, I don't have much wind and much wave, so I train differently. But when it's wavy and windy, it's just a paradise to train. It's
Mm-hmm.
really tiring. Every day so much opportunity to push the limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and then the Molokai race, it's basically sometimes the start it can be pretty light wind and not very good bumps. And then of course also the finish is like upwind, like you're going into the wind in Mauna Loa Bay in Hawaii Kai. And so for that the beginning at the end, you want kind of a bigger foil that's easier to stay up on
Yeah.
foil on. But then in the middle of the race, you have like sometimes huge bumps and very fast speeds, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
it's hard to have a setup that can handle both, like I guess so.
Yeah, that's why this year for my first time I will go with a 1000 centimeter square,
Hmm.
and then I can take off almost on the flat. And I actually, my wing is my front. This foil is in France, getting prepared by a guy that will prepare the foil
Oh
and
yeah,
make it, because after 1 year of use there are some thing,
little
so he
scratches
make
and
it
stuff.
super
Yeah,
proper, like he make it perfect.
yeah.
And I can push this foil until my maximum speed was 42 kilometer uh, kilometer per hour. And in, I
How
don't
much
know
is
how
that
what is the,
in miles per hour? I'm just trying to think.
it's
42.
fast, it's
Yeah,
very fast.
yeah.
Well, and then after that, I just fell because it was like one big bump, and then a second big bump, and then the third, I was like, wow, I can't more. 42 kilometer per hour. I don't know how much is it in.
Yeah, it's like about, I think, is it 2.2? I don't know. But yeah, that's really fast.
Well,
So,
And then my strategy will be, if it's too big, I just find a line that allow me to fly as fast as I can, and actually I go there because of course I will do it. I will give it all, and I will try to win and everything. But it's also about to be part of the race and to be part of the history of the sport, and to share it with many new sub foiler, and to be there, it's just amazing. I have the experience that less expectation you have, like when you have when you're on the good flow and on the lightness, better you are. So I don't put me so much pressure of result. Of course, I go there to do my best, but it's more about the experience and to enjoy it at the top.
So who do you think is your biggest competition in the women's downwind foiling? Like who do you think is the favorite?
I think it's always everybody,
Yeah.
because you don't know. It's a
Yeah.
new sport and you don't know. And you can have black horses, and everyone is able to make surprises. Of course, Annie is very strong, and we know that she's from Hawaii, and she knows very well the race and the spots, and she will be back after her shoulder problems, and yeah, I guess our main competitor is ourselves. Like always, it's you push yourself and you go for it, and this is one opportunity to go over the comfort zone and to push our limits.
Yeah.
Especially when you are in the middle of nowhere. We will be, I guess, with the escort boat. Maybe we don't know who is where because we have different line, or I don't know if we can really be close to each other, and it's pretty long. In foiling less, because it will be 2 hour and a half, 3 hour of flight. But before, in like when you race in the classic sub race, it's 4 hour something. So it's not you have time to it's enough time for things to happen.
Yeah. Well,
So
and
you never
especially
know.
in the moca race, the finish, like everything can change. Like, yeah, because if you get a nice wave or something, and versus having to paddle for the last mile almost or whatever, so that's can be that can make a big difference too, I think, to finish. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the China wall.
yeah, that's a big challenge, I think. But yeah, I think this year I think there's more people on foils than on stand-up paddle boards maybe in the Molokai race. I have
Oh
to
yeah,
check it. Yeah, but there's
incredible.
a pretty big group
That's
of
cool.
foilers. Yeah, so it's really and it's really the first time the race is held since the beginning of COVID, since 2019, so it'll be interesting to see
Yeah, it
how,
will be a big return of the
yeah.
race.
Because back then,
And
yeah, like in 2019, foiling was still pretty new, and it's a lot of things have changed since then. So it really, I think it's really exciting to see, and then wing foiling for the first time too in the race.
yeah.
So and then, so what are your plans after that? Are you gonna focus on downwind stand-up foiling, or what are your plans? Are you still gonna do stand-up racing or wing foiling, or what are your plans?
My plans after the Molokai,
Hmm.
after this summer.
Yes.
I have the project. It will be maybe before or after the Molokai, depending on the wind conditions. I want to set a record in Portugal of sub downwind foil. So it's really nobody knows about this for now. You're the first one to be aware of that.
Oh, cool.
Except my sponsor. I will start from Peniche in Portugal, and I will go to where I'm able to go with the north wind.
Okay.
It means that I have a distance of 275 kilometers to Sagres, until Sagres. This is the point of the southwest of Portugal. And it's about, if I fly it in my average speed, which is a 23 kilometer per hour, what I do in a 60K, I can do it in 1 day of summer, of European summer, which is a 15-hour of flight. It's about 12 hour and a half of foiling, of sub foiling, and we have 15 hour of flight in from. So basically, it's from 6 a.m. to 8 to 6 p.m. 7 p.m.
Right. Wow.
And with the new gear.
So if you complete that, it's longer than James Casey's 1 day record. I think he did it 100 miles or something like that. So 275 kilometers would be more than that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great experience. It's the adventure, and with foiling today, with the new boards and the new foils, everything go very fast. The improvement of the gear make everything much more, like, really go, like, break the boundaries, go over the, like what we do last year, the one year after with the new gear, it's nothing about, it's
Right.
We are really living one time of the sport that is incredible, I guess.
Yeah, things are changing very quickly and improving.
And I do it for Portuguese association that protect the nature. That actually, like, at this moment, Portugal is very suffering from luxury tourism, with many golf on the dunes, on the natural parks, that are just like, it's not just one or two golf, it's maybe 6 or more golf in a very small area, in almost on the beach, let's say, where there is not much water, and then the intensive agriculture, and then other projects that I mean, that Portugal is really living an expansion, like, at this moment, with the after the COVID, many people want to go and live there, and then it's an opportunity for the politics to have a opportunity in the other businesses. And then the respect of the nature is a bit forgotten in this story. Then I'm seeking to do this to support association that try to share the good message, that try to find the balance between development and respect of the nature, and what we can do to find the right way to evolve and to make business, let's say, because it's all about money. And so we're gonna do a documentary about this. We're gonna show you guys how beautiful is Portugal, how beautiful is the culture that you are already know, I guess, and what is happening right now in the coast and inland, and to get support to reach money for the people that need to stop legally some people that don't respect the law.
Yeah, basically
Basically, this is the
overdevelopment.
story.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're raising funds for a nonprofit. That's cool. Awesome.
yeah.
So,
Because I love Portugal so much,
how
so
how
I
long
can't
have you been
stay.
living in Portugal now? How many years have you been living there?
5 years.
Okay. So your mother tongue is French, and then you speak Portuguese and English. What do you speak any other languages?
Frank, Franglish. I speak Franglish and Portuguese, French.
Yeah.
No, but I speak enough for the people to understand what I want to say.
Mm. Right, right, right.
Yeah, and then I speak a bit of Spanish too. I
Cool.
mean, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. When you know a bit how to speak, it's easy. And when you have friends, when you live in the country, if you make the effort, it's okay. You can.
Yeah.
For me, it don't make sense to live in a country and don't speak the language. So it was not easy, but at the end, I speak a bit of Portuguese.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So, let's talk a little bit about wing foiling. Like, so are you gonna keep competing as a wing foiler? And and then I just wanted to ask you too about your wings, the Vayu wings, and so on. So, you want to talk a little bit about your
Yeah,
wing foiling?
I will keep competing in wing foiling. I love to do downwinders, and we have one race in France, the Carnon Wing Foil event in September. That is downwind races in wing foiling. So I have these races on my calendar,
Mhm.
and I hope for new downwind wing foil races to appear and to be able to compete in the downwind format.
Okay.
Yeah, this is value. So nice.
So you're
I love it.
yeah, talk a little bit about the wings. Like what what wings do you use, and like what do you like about these wings and so on?
So these wings on the screen is the wing V2.
Hmm.
Now I use the V3 for freeride and like when it's flat. And on the wave I use the Aura. And I will soon I will use the Aura X. This is the Alula. Yeah, this one, this beauty. I will use the Aura X, the new best wing of Vaio. That is really rigid and very nice on the wave and also on the racing. Apparently, I did one race beginning of April in north of France, and it was really fun.
Mm.
And yeah, I still compete on the fun events of wing foiling and man, I really prefer to compete in the downwinds. For the Molokai, I do it on the sub, but I have the feeling that more and more races will be downwind also, not only racing or freestyle.
For downwind foiling or stand-up foiling or wing foiling are you talking about now?
Wing foiling.
Mm.
I mean special events made for wing foiling downwind.
Yeah.
That's what I really like.
Yeah, so what kind of equipment do you use for downwind wing foiling?
I used the wing depend on the wind on the wind. I use the Aura value wing, and then I for the body it also depend on the wind, but I mostly use the Axis 55 liter with the 90 centimeter mast I modulus carbon mast. For the fuselage, I use the ultra short, which is 64 centimeter long.
Mm.
And for the front wing, I used to use the ART,
Hmm.
and now I'm gonna use the ART Pro in different size. And for the rear wing, I use the progressive, the 300 progressive. I
So
still didn't try the skinny rear, but looks super cool. Need to train more on that to make my choice, but really love the
I've been
access
using
foil.
the ART wings, Access ART. So what's the difference between ART and ART Pro? Like, how are they different? How do they handle differently, and so on?
For now, for what I tried with the 1201, it's really about the 1201. It's much bigger and much high aspect. It's 11 ratio, so it's really more
Oh,
like longer.
hmm.
So you take off more easy with this wing, but it's always the same goal. It's to have better lift and go faster. It's this balance, and the art pro is the next level. It's You have a better lift, so it means that you can take off more easily, and when you make mistake and you are about to lose the flight, the foil still keep you up. And then when you push and you go fast, the foil accepts to go fast and to be in control, and to it's and I mean, this is the main goal for the foiling development. But the Art Pro is really made for downwinding.
Hmm.
That's why the lift for downwinding is super important, because if you don't fly, you don't do any downwind.
Right. What about the thickness of the profile? Is it about the same as the ART, or do you know?
The 1201 is a bit more thicker on the front, and it's like the ART, the last version. It's more like flat, let's say, and the ART Pro is more like how to say that in English, I don't know, but it's I think it's a little bit thicker on the front, and then less on the evacuation of the water is from the center. It's like this.
Hmm. Yeah, and then just higher aspect, I guess, too, right?
Yeah.
So are they planning to come out with more sizes in the ART Pro, do you know? Or like have you been able to test
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna
size?
receive a smaller size. I just received one text message this morning from Evan telling me that he's gonna ship new sizes.
Hmm.
So I can't tell you yet, but yeah, we're gonna have I can't tell you the exact size,
Sure.
but we're gonna have a smaller size,
Yeah. And then
which is
so
really cool for me, because the 1201 for me is really big for my weight.
hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
So in the Molokai race, if the conditions are good, you might use something a little bit smaller, probably,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah,
that same
absolutely.
kind of, probably the ART Pro kind of same style foil. Probably.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so and then what about the boards? Talk a little bit about downwind stand-up foil boards. I guess ART makes them. Is yours a standard production model, or is this one of your?
I have this shape, the downwind,
Yeah,
but in steel 11. It's made for my weight. For my weight, the 100 liter would be a bit big for me.
right.
So they just built a smaller board adapted, and also it's 19 wide. I'm also on a 19 inch wide.
Yeah, I've heard the it works really well, right? Even for like just catching waves easily and things like that. I mean, do you ever use it
Yeah.
for in the surf, or only for downwind?
For now, I didn't use it on the surf because unfortunately it's flat for a few days, and I used the hybrid. No, I used the hybrid, the 6.0 on the wave, but it was also super small. It was like really like ankle high
Hmm.
and super nice. Like the downwind is really made for the downwind, and for surfing, I use the hybrid. But I guess the downwind can be also nice for small waves.
Hmm. So
Yeah, I use the 90 liter, the 6.0.
is that what, and then for what do you use for wing foiling? Is that the same board you use for wing foiling or?
For wing foiling, I use the fourth, the 85 liter. But if, let's say, if I would be a client, I would use the hybrid also in wing foiling. Because
Oh,
that's
okay.
true that having so many boards, that I'm so lucky to be a pro athlete and to have as much gear as I need. But I use the fourth carbon foil board, the 85 liter.
Okay.
When it's light, when it's very light in Portugal. Otherwise, I use the 55 liter when it's windy. This board is I order it for supping,
Hmm.
and then I discovered that it was pretty nice when it was windy, but not enough to have a small boat. And when there is some current and big waves, you don't want to get watch, and you want to go away very fast. So this board is very nice to take off easily and go away
Hmm. So, but
and
it's,
don't swim so much.
they're quite wide compared to the hybrid or the, especially the downwind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
But then it's really maneuverable because it's very very short.
Yeah, short and stubby kind
Five. It's a 5.0. So yeah,
of. Hmm.
pretty
Hmm.
nice on the surf.
Cool.
Yeah, this is my subfoil for the waves
Hmm.
and the downwind for the. Yeah, I'm super happy with the new board, the new sub.
Hmm.
That's really amazing to see subboards in the foiling industry, like official shapes for the first time.
Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
a
I mean,
paddler, it's like, yes.
and it seems to be a fast growing thing right now too. Like I was just at a factory where they were making foil boards, and almost everything in production right now is all downwind foil boards. So, a
Mm,
lot of companies are coming out with them, and so we'll see. But yeah, it is such a challenging sport, and I think it is very much of a niche sport. So we'll see how widely it gets adopted. Because I think it's just for a lot of people, it's
mhm.
just not something they can do every day. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
it's for sure it's a niche, but the equipment make it much more accessible, and it's also about many people did wing foiling, and then what next? You
Yeah,
know, I have many friends. They are like, yeah, we wing foil when it's flat, and when you did a 360 and jump, and when you really know how to wing foil, you're like, okay, then what I do now?
yeah,
And there are many people able to sub down wing foil
yeah, yeah. I know for sure,
that
and
do
it's
wing foiling.
yeah, and it's a cool challenge. I've been, I kind of, I was downwind stand-up foiling before I got into wing foiling. And then once the wings came out, and then I was like, oh, this is so much easier. And so then I
Yeah,
got really into wing foiling. And then lately I've been trying to get back into downwind foiling, but then I kind of remembered how hard it is. So, yeah, it's definitely
it's so hard.
not easy to get going and then stay up on foil and stuff like that. So it's a challenge.
Hmm.
But, yeah, so do you like? I was gonna ask, like, are you regular foot or goofy foot, like your natural stance?
Regular.
Regular. So,
Yeah,
and then when you're wing foiling, do you switch your feet or do you stay in the same position? You switch.
I switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks to windsurfing. I'm used to switch.
So if wing foiling becomes an Olympic sport, do you think you would compete in wing foil Olympic racing?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't know, but I don't. Yeah, I really prefer, and it's also about the timing in my life. That I live in Portugal. I bought my home. I'm doing a lot of gardening. Completely fan of taking care of the nature, of the land, of the plants, and this take a lot of time. It's my way. It's one kind of therapy. And anyway, it's something that I really love to do. And when you are Olympic athlete, you just do it. You don't do anything else.
Hmm.
And this, I did it when I was 20 to 27 years old, and I did stand-up racing twice a day, three times a week gym, and I got world champion 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, so cool. But I know what is it to be professional athlete, Olympic. It's crazy,
Hmm.
and I also discovered the sailing community and the like how it is to compete in sailing. And I prefer to be a freerider, a sup downwind foiler.
Right. Yeah, because it gives you more, I guess, more freedom, and it's more expression than just like it's not
Yeah,
just like a.
and I also want to go into the big wave. I want to go to Nazaré with the foil this winter. I want to experiment. I want to do crazy challenge, and since always I'm more a free people. And when you do the Olympic, it's not you don't decide so much.
Hmm.
You train a lot. You have a team around you, and then it's another way of life.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm aware that I'm living in Portugal. I'm good here.
Right. And
Yeah, but it will be amazing if wing foiling go to the Olympic, and it will go for sure.
yeah, 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 I think so too. I think it's just a matter of time. Such a
Hmm.
such a cool thing. But
And you,
yeah,
will you
me?
go to the Olympic
No. I'm
in
55,
swimming
so I'm
pool?
over the hill, but I still enjoy it though. And I like to go faster than young guys, so if I can.
Yeah, it's so
But
competitive.
yeah, I'm actually like the course racing, I'm not that interested in it really because yeah, it depends so much on the conditions and the equipment and so technical, so definitely more
Hmm.
fun to just go out in the waves and have fun and all that kind of stuff. But let's talk a little bit about the state of mind, like you're talking about, like a little bit about like how sometimes it's better to like not be, or just kind of to let your mind wander a little bit, or just have like more that um not be too. Sometimes if you're trying too hard, it's like it doesn't work, right? Like you have to kind of go with the flow and then let it happen, and then when that. But talk a little bit, how do you get into the right frame of mind to kind of get to do your water sports? Like what comes natural to you? Like do you have any tips on how to get into the right state of mind, to where everything flows and comes naturally?
I have the flow that we call the flow in psychology. It's when you are really on the moment. This is the hardest thing to do. It's really simple, but it's really hard at the same time because when you are competing or when you are pushing yourself, you are really focused on the result. And when you are focused on the result, you are no more focused on what you are doing because, and then, and I when I was since I was competing in sub racing, and also I think it's very important to train the mind to be here now. It's sometimes you are thinking about so many stuff, what I will do tomorrow, what I will do next month, what I will do this summer in Hawaii, and what I did before. But if you are not here now, you won't be here after. And when I will be in Hawaii, maybe I won't be there. I will be thinking about what I will do in a month when I go back to Europe. So I really try to focus to be here, and then of course it's very important to plan and to be organized and this kind of stuff. But the experience I had recently, my Garmin watch was not working anymore, and then to measure my speed and my distance, I put it on my phone on Strava. Then I put my phone in my pocket. Then I did my downwinder, put out my phone, sometimes calling the friend but my phone was mostly on my pocket. And then I arrived there, I put the Strava off, I stopped the time, I go to the parking and I check. And the average speed is pretty good. And the condition was not that, was okay. Then I got this beautiful Garmin watch. And then the conditions were super good, and I was feeling I had the good speed, and I was sure that my average speed was much better. But I was always watching the speed, like, wow, 40 kilometers per hour. Nice. No. Then when I finished, my average speed was not that better because I was not really focused on the ocean and on what I was doing. I was just checking the number.
Distracted, yeah.
And this is very interesting. And also the experience I had was doing apnea. I did one camp of apnea in south of France, and it was my first experience doing apnea. I was very beginner. I went with this guy that was world champion, Stefan Mifsud.
Apnea is breath holding, right? Like holding your breath or diving deep, or like what?
Yeah. He's world champion of static apnea, and it is 11 minutes 50 seconds. 11 minutes in the water without breathing. Crazy. And the guy is super humble, teaching us how to do. And I really discovered doing apnea, which is super simple as well. You just have to relax and to be focused on yourself and to don't think about anything else. And I really realized how it costs you to just watch how many minutes you are underwater, or to be like in little tiny stress, how you can be like, wow. And then after a few times, I did 2 or 3 days of apnea with this guy. Then I went under the water to did a 17-meter for the first time. Was pretty nice. Then stay a bit down there, and you have the stress to think, okay, I have to go up now. I have to be able to to reach the surface and breathe, and to completely relax and to be. It's incredible. It's incredible how much your mind has an impact on yourself, and how much the stress can kill you when you're the stress costs a lot of energy. So of course the stress is important to be awake and to push us, but it's really a balance between when you are doing your race, nothing else exists, and you are so lucky to be here. You are so fucking lucky to be in Hawaii, for example, with many cool people around you, and just live this moment. Just enjoy it and do your best. And you can't do better than your best anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for especially for stand-up paddling, I've done the Molokai race like 10 times, and it's such a mental thing, like if you're not in the right state of mind, it can be a very difficult race to do it.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
yeah,
very
yeah, because
hard to always stay positive the whole way across when you're stand-up paddling for 5 hours or 6 hours, that's
uh-huh.
and, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. So I'm curious how long can you hold your breath? Like how long can you stay underwater?
Well, no, I was a very beginner. I did 2 minutes.
Right. Okay.
It was really I was really starting, and it was my only training. But I want to train more for the next winter
Have you
to
tried
to go
the
on the big waves.
Wim Hof breathing? Wim Hof
I
breathing?
know,
Yeah.
I know what it is. I did very few times,
Yeah.
but it's super interesting.
Yeah, I do that like regularly in the
The,
morning. Like after I get up, I just do the breathing exercise and breath hold
wow.
exercises. And it's good for the mind, like or just also just I kind of think when you do something that's kind of difficult or challenging, like when I do it first thing in the morning, then the rest of the day is kind of easy after that, right? So you do a couple of hard things in the
Yeah,
morning, and then after that everything's pretty easy. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's really short, but it has a big effect.
yeah.
A Wim Hof.
Okay, so do you have I think we've had a pretty long interview, but like do you have anything you want to share with the foiling world, like any message? I mean, you already talked about like getting more women into the sport and stuff like that, but like do you have any other messages you want to put out there?
Well, it's a very large thing, but yeah, I guess that the ocean and the nature in general, it's so amazing, and that as many people we can bring into it, it's like it's our therapy. It's our it's our way of life. But I would like to say that it's for me, it's my, to say that in English, it's my what I live for. And sometimes I'm thinking about the people that don't have the opportunity to experiment it, to get in contact with the water and with this element, and like to put it more and more popular and accessible. It's so cool, and I'm super happy to help the industry to promote and to show what is possible, and to share it with as many people as possible. That when I will be on the Molokai, I will think about my friend Sonny Unchained, that that he's living a very hard time at the moment, about the mind health. And it's very important to take care of us, thanks to the ocean, because the ocean can take so many things. It's not only about the physical health, it's also about the mental health. And yeah, I feel so grateful for it, to be in contact with this element.
Mm.
And yeah, for sure I can talk about it for another hour,
Me
but
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really it's a luck, and it's not a luck because we went into it, so we make it happen. And sometimes the ocean is very hard with us as well. It's not always fun, but
Mhm.
it's so much learning, and so much happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right about the ocean. It always humbles you if you um if you feel like invincible sometimes, then at some point the
Yeah,
ocean's
you
like
stay very humble then.
yeah, puts you
Yeah,
back in your place, right? So yeah, it's a good teacher for sure.
yeah.
All right. Well, great. Yeah. So I was just thinking, like, what is something that we can all do to, like to protect the environment, to be better, shepherds of the world, of the earth, So, you're talking about, you know, like you're, raising funds for a nonprofit to kind of um, protect protect the protect the ocean or protect the land from overdevelopment and so on. Um, but like like being in the surfing industry, like it's not exactly like the products we use are environmentally friendly, and traveling all over the world on jet planes is not really environmentally
Absolutely,
friendly.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
by going in the ocean, it is like the way I justify it is it is kind of a way to feel closer to it and wanting to protect it, right? Like we are the ocean protectors because we love the ocean, right? So, but what are some things that you do? What are some things that other people can do to be better shepherds of the earth, I guess?
Yeah, what I think it's all about daily little thing that we do every day about saving the water and being careful with the plastic that we bought and all of these things that most of us know. But I we can discover that there is a long way to share this message to many people that are not aware about this or don't imagine the impact that we can have us little citizen, and then for sure to to get into the action to influence the bigger industry that sometimes take a terrible decision like the deep meaning on the ocean, like all these projects that is about to to happen in Europe. That is pretty not nice for the ocean and for the nature. And yeah, like I also study. It's nothing about like, but it's I also study Chinese medicine, and in Chinese medicine they say that a little action sometimes can have a big effect. It means when you see Kailini taking a plastic bottle on the beach, which is not something not like it's just normal, the people that will watch him will be like, wow, this is Kailini doing it, you know? So sometimes you can have just little action that can have a big influence into other people, and I think it's important to take it in consideration and to just act as best as we can. And but for sure it's a very very complex story for all of us human that we love the comfort, we love to travel to Hawaii with stand-up paddleboard, and we everyone in our level we are responsible. But I guess it's very hard to be perfect. Some of us maybe are, but the most important is to do our best and to keep improving and to think about the solution, like some like finding maybe new type of construction, or like most of the brand did in the industry to remove the plastic on the packing, on the packaging of the board. This is a huge like this is really really good
Hmm.
to do it.
Yeah.
Then when I do downwinder, I really go. I don't go with the boat because I'm not used to it. But you know, this little thing that can By the way, I'm looking for a boat escort in in the M2O,
Okay.
but I would love to do the M2O without the boats. With the foil, I guess it's okay. It's just 2 or 3 hour of foiling, but well, it's
Yeah, the
nah,
Maui
but
to
it's
Molokai you can do without a boat, but the Molokai to Oahu they require an escort boat. You can't do it without an escort.
yeah, of course, because it's
Yeah,
super dangerous. You are
yeah,
between two in a very dangerous channel, so
yeah.
it's really much more safe to do it this way.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's and I think everything like it's also about sometimes when you give, it has more value that when you receive. No, so when you give, when you work, when you give something, when you contribute to the society or to the environment, it's super good for you. Like whatever. Sometimes me, I'm planting trees and planting the garden and feeding the chicken and doing some stuff like this that don't give me any money, but it gives me so much that I have a little impact doing this and planting trees that maybe they will be big when I will die because they are super small.
Yeah. No, that's
But I feel
rewarding to
good.
do
I
things like
just
that.
feel good doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, that's a good way to end the interview, I think. So yeah, thanks so much, Olivia. And looking forward to seeing you in Hawaii this summer, pretty soon, actually next month already, right?
Thank you,
And
Robert.
so
I'm super
yeah,
excited too to go to Hawaii to see you and all
yeah,
the other rider. It will be
yeah.
so nice.
Okay. Thanks so much for your time and
Thank you.
have a good
See
night.
you soon.
Okay. See you soon. Aloha.
Thank you. Ciao,
Yeah.
ciao.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Um, Next weekend, I'm going to post a little video about a downwind wing foil training session we had. Alan Cadiz was in town here on Oahu, so we did a long run from Hawaii Kai all the way to White Plains, which was over 30 miles of winging, and talked a little bit about safety when you're out in open water and going out with a group and so on. And some good stuff, I think. Good learning experience and a great training run. So that'll be next weekend, and then I'm also planning to post more interviews before and after the Molokai race. So I'm super excited about that, being entered in that myself. Keeps me motivated and keeps me getting in the water to train. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and come back for the next show. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the water. Aloha.